My way is the way of kindness, and it will prevail. All these other mystics and so on, Gurdjieff and so on, it will not survive like my way. Because kindness, compassion, cooperation is the basis of cooperative team input, contribution by the whole of creation to what it can become, the fullness of things. It has more resources than the individualism of, the recluse. It has, more self-criticism, more stability, more input, a bigger vision. God has the full vision of all that is and all that can be, all that could be, all that he can make, because he has the consciousness through all things. All things have a measure of his consciousness. In fact, put it the other way around, are his consciousness. He has the overall picture, you see, the total cooperation, the whole thing. You know how a jigsaw puzzle, you don't want a piece missing. It's an eyesore, isn't it? It draws your attention to a dimension that is not what the jigsaw's about. Picture of this, English village cottage, or, mountains and streams and so forth. Instead, there's this shape, blank board showing through, somewhere off center where the piece is missing. And man is almost the other way around. He is one of the pieces. He's a tiny bit of picture in himself, but when you look at it, it doesn't make sense because you don't know where it would fit into the whole. You're not seeing its right place, its contribution to the completeness, if you like, the perfection, the completeness of the creation, as it is at present. I mean, creation is always changing, of course, that's what life is. So, at one extreme, we've got the nearest to individualism, which is actually, surprisingly, the ascetic who is withdrawn from the world and really isn't interacting with any other people directly much. And this, I'm walking along the one of the bays in Wellington because I'm here at some theosophical conference, and it's 6:15 in the morning. It's January, southern hemisphere, so it's lovely and light, and there's a bit of cloud in the distance. And I'm looking across the water to the hills on the other side and so forth. But I was jamming up on Gurdjieff, the Russian mystic and everything else, philosopher and so on. And I realised, yes, he has a contribution, don't get me wrong. We all have a contribution, and it's a significant contribution. But it's a view that's still a partiality, of course. One's individual is a partiality. But a belief system based on based on anything other than kindness, cooperation, help, love, compassion, support, integration, I would say harmony. I know we need some, life is also disequilibrium, meaning it's moving towards another perhaps temporary equilibrium and then shifting on to another. That's what life in many ways is, but it's not, I do agree, it's not a complete harmony, but it's a cooperation to achieve what it achieves, to make what it is, to be what it is. And it's continually changing, I agree, because of some disequilibrium, some longing, some purpose, and so forth. That was, I don't know, 6 or 7 cyclists all in the same sort of uniform that just whizzed past. And that sound, of course, is the traffic, because I'm walking along the seafront road. And I suppose the traffic's going to start to build up. Now, I could stay up on the road level, or I could walk a bit lower here, but I think I'll stay up on the road level in case I get stuck in a situation which I can't back out of, you know. I have to come all the way back again. So, from the point of view of your safety, don't pursue a philosophy that's too individualistic. If it doesn't have loving kindness, then it doesn't have enough cooperation to make it a lasting aspect of peace and joy and fulfillment and happiness and help and rescue and many of the things that we value. It could be, of course, that pursuing such a path means you don't value such things, you value something else, but then that something else seems to imply a self-annihilation, in the sense that a cooperative joint effort of all life seems to, almost by definition, suggest a greater endurance and success and happiness. If one doesn't want continuance of life and success and happiness, well, I suppose you're welcome to. Hi. You're welcome to a theosophy that is more individualistic. But well, I would personally like to rescue you from it. You might not want to be rescued, of course. In which case, I suppose I'm meant to leave you where you are, but I don't want to. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Hey, this seemed a good idea. I'm just walking, you see, and as I walk along, I've done this a bit before around the lake in Hamilton, haven't I? But as I walk along, I'm just chatting to you and recording. And I've got this grin all over my face because it's a new experience, isn't it? I'm sort of wanting to be conscious of God, letting ideas flow through me, well, to you, through the phone, and through time and space. I don't know, it's a simple technology now relative to everything else that's going on. Isn't it an amazing technology too? Yes. Isn't it amazing? I just saw a seagull went past me, low down below me. I mean, I'm about 15 feet off the water. And I think he must have dipped into the water unless a fish jumped to him, or unless he dashed down and picked something up out of the water. Didn't quite see it. Didn't think it was him. Perhaps it was. So, I'm at this conference. Rather nice. I had a lovely thing yesterday. I was driving along from Hamilton. It's a long drive. It was supposed to be 6.5 hours, and it was taking me more like 7.5. And I saw this bicycle on the side verge, the grass verge. I mean, Highway 1, it's the main highway in New Zealand. area, and the traffic was going not too fast, but continuous. And I thought, goodness, has she fallen off her bike? As she's laying on the grass verge, you see, next to the bike, which was on its side, and the bags were sort of scattered. A lady of, I don't know, 50, say, Slimish, Kiwi, European descent. And so anyway, no, she was just having a rest. Well, of course, it was causing one or two cars to stop because, concern. And I said, well, would you like a lift? Because I've got a bicycle rack in my boot. I put in the boot just in case someone that I needed help would. I mean, amazing, wasn't it? And it did. It happened to me. I suppose I was so sensitive to it anyway. So I gave her a lift for the rest of the way down to Wellington. She'd already cycled about 67, I think she said, kilometres from something like Palmerston North, I'm not sure. And, I think it was Palmerston. And so I ran her home, her flat in Wellington, which was rather nice to just go into someone's flat, because she invited me in for a cup of tea, of course, and had a nice chat. Well, as you can imagine, fairly philosophical, spiritual, not too much, of course. Interestingly, I found she does a form of Kriya Yoga. I've forgotten but he's still alive, the guru that she follows, and he lives in India, of course, most of them do. And what a lovely thing God just gave me in the day. I mean, it was a long journey. It was a spiritual journey, but not as spiritual perhaps as I thought, and that just made it lovely. Relating to someone that you didn't know. And just good, just so good. I mean, enter into life. Enjoy, accept people. They're not you, of course. And that's what's lovely. They're not you. And some of them are difficult. I mean, the guy I'm sharing a room with in the motel, but he's not really talking to me much at all. I mean, he ought to. He's my sort of age, and we're both thinking individuals. He's he's a theosophist. So I mean, he knows. Presumably, he's experienced a lot of relating to people. You don't know what's in people's lives, but I don't want to invade that. I do want to bless him, but I don't want to steer him where he doesn't want to go now. On the other hand, I do want to hold in my mind perhaps a greater happiness and fulfillment in life that he's not experiencing. And that is a lady on the Lambretta, no, it's a man, sorry, just stopped very close to me on the other side of the road. Well, it could be a lady, checking where they're going on their phone, or answering their phone. I'm quite confused, I can't work out actually. I think it could be a lady, I don't know. She's gone now, as you can hear. Well, I just thought I'd give a few personal details, because I don't know, to try and we understand a person's philosophy when we see it much better in the context in which they're living, I think. You try and understand biblical scholarship, biblical studies. You sort of think, well, what was the culture at the time? What would these words have meant? What was significant to these people? And so on and so forth. I mean, we never get it right. We're always rewriting history, aren't we? But I mean, well, that's part of the rich picture, isn't it? Thank you, Heavenly Father. Oh, let me just give the date. It's Friday the 8th of January 2021. But not for you, it's your day, where you are, in your place. And I'm speaking right to you. I so wish you could speak back to me. And perhaps one day we'll even have a technology that does that. How would that be? My words, they always come true. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Hey, not so absurd. It just occurs to me, doesn't it? God speaks to us from the future as well as the past. I can imagine for a moment being outside of time, then I can appreciate you as you were, as you are, as you will be. And if it doesn't stretch the mind too far, how we all are in the eternity, what eternity means. And I gather that means just different dimensions. Different dimensions are an appropriate understanding of such, but that therefore, hence you can get premonitions, say, prophecies and fortune telling, whatever you like to call it. You can pick up the future and the past, and it can affect the present. But in fact, the whole of all, I say creation, but I mean more than that, because creation is limited in what we understand by the meaning of creation, and I think I want to mean more than that. But we're limited to thinking in that way, and actual reality well, simplistically speaking, is greater. And therefore, and hence God relates to us as we will be, as we are in eternity, which is well, in our language, in our terms and understanding, His perfect family, host of heaven. And that's how He's valuing us, just as we value our children. I mean, we value them as they are, but we also are conscious of the wonderful potential, the future that they can become, and that we're part of that building, that input, the help towards that creation. Do you know, I absolutely love doing this, somehow walking out in the fullness of nature, and urban nature in this case, and yet I lovely smile from somebody. That was a walk, a lady of, she's 30, she could be 40, but she's athletic and she's smiling, and she smiled at me. And do you know, I'm in my element. Absolutely in my element. I am so enjoying philosophizing on foot. And I'll have a record of it. Nobody will ever listen to it, of course. That's not true, is it? I hope it's not true. No, it's not true. Because I want it to be a blessing. I want every life form to be its completeness, its joy and happiness and fullness, belonging and peace and all those good things that we can list, full of hope, full of shalom, and full of love, and the joy of loving, the joy of giving. I was listening, it was more spiritual than I thought, come to think of it, my journey yesterday in the car. I was listening to Marshall Rosenberg, my namesake, and Marshall anyway, and one of his talks was emphasizing that when someone asks for something or expresses a need to you, it's a wonderful blessing to you, because you have the opportunity to bless them, to be a help and a significance, a building block in their life, a contribution to their loveliness and their joy and their fulfillment. you have this opportunity. It's a gift. And some lady, of course, asked the obvious, does that mean I do have to, I suppose a bit like the thing of Jesus doing, give to him that asks, what do you mean, everything, every time they ask, even when it's unreasonable? And of course he responded by saying, no, you give them a gift back. Which is, I'm sorry, I have the need. No, he didn't say that, I'm sorry, but he said, well, I have needs too, I'm afraid I'm not in a position to be able to meet your needs because of so-and-so, you have priorities, you have a family to keep, you have other charities you help, you have other things you have to put your time and resources to. But of course, before you say that, you say, I do appreciate your need and how you feel. And you re-say to them what you understand to be their feelings and their needs. And if you're wrong, they respond back and say, no, it's so-and-so, such and such. You say, I see, so such and such. Yes, right. In other words, you empathize, you enter into seeing from their point of view. And when they know you are understanding, or wanting to understand at the very least, from their perspective, they start to also enter into the same mode of operation, of relating, and they're beginning to become sensitive to your needs and feelings. And then they can accept willingly, but or as willingly as can be, that you can't necessarily meet their need. And you both therefore come to a celebration of life that empathizes with each other, and that is more important than even such gains as are negotiated. I can't give you money for a meal, but I can give you, I got some bananas here, would that help? I can give you something, well, that's good of you, thanks very much, because I understand that you too have needs, and I don't want to impose on those, it's just that I have needs and you have needs, and somehow you celebrate a recognition of empathy between the two of you. That's something of the ideal. I'm not saying it completely encompasses it, I'm not sure as I've grasped it completely, but you can see, in some sense, the spirit of the relationship that we're trying to move towards. A very non-violent, his emphasis is on non-violent communication. It's a very much what he calls not jackal approach to living, but a giraffe approach to living, as he calls it. Well, that's an interesting thing, and you might want to track it down if you like. Marshall Rosenberg, non-violent communication. It's an absolute must, really, for the human race. He is right that if we could only embrace something of that, we would move towards a much more harmonious planet, a much more loving and understanding environment. He doesn't talk about religion, but a bit like Jordan Peterson, he seems to not embrace religion as such, but nonetheless be talking about the holy life. They're preaching holiness, even though they don't realise it. Well, I suppose they do realise it. It's just that they don't want the trappings of religion and so on to cloud the issue. Or it doesn't cloud their issue anyway, as they see it. Certainly as they're portraying it. Yes. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Hey, I've got on the back of my mind, your presence is heaven to me. Your presence is heaven to me. Your presence is heaven To me, your presence is heaven. To me, your presence is heaven. To me. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Heavenly Father. I say the sun's come up. Oh, it was a bit up before, but it's just behind the cloud, but it's now above the cloud. I'm looking at the sun, and it's so bright you can't look at the sun. Yeah. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Your presence is heaven to me. You know, I've got my back against the water a minute, leaning against the railings, and I'm looking up the cliff behind me, which is, I don't know, 40 foot high, something like that, whatever that is in meters, say 20 meters high, a bit less perhaps. And it's a fairly sheer cliff. It's probably a 80 degree slope, you know. And he's got a garage down the bottom, which is on the side of this seafront road, which is fairly busy, as you can see. He's cut into the cliff and concreted the cliff back to keep it in one piece, I suppose, and built a garage. I guess it's a double garage, could be single. And next to it, he's got this lift that follows a rail that's bent halfway up to a lesser angle and takes it all the way up the cliff to his house at the top, where he can get off and go into his house. I don't know if you call it the back or the front of the house. In a way it's the front of the house because it's looking across the water. And you can just see bits of the house above the bushes that are growing on the cliff in a sort of gully part of it. So he's built his garage at the bottom, and he's got this electric lift that holds, well, at least 2 people, could hold more. I suppose it could hold 3 or so. And well, that's neat. Because if you get down to this seafront road, it's much easier to traverse into the city or around it, because you're following the water level, it's flat and it just winds around the edge. Whereas to try and go across Wellington is a nightmare, because there's all these ridges of hills and mountains that it's built on, and there's no room for Wellington to expand anywhere, and you couldn't possibly have a grid system of roads that allows you to get across town efficiently. You know, you've got to go snaking all over the place to get anywhere. It takes ages in the car. Thank you, Heavenly Father.